Всех приветствую зрителей канала Feigin Live.
All right, this
Сегодня
is
четверг,
Feigin Live.
24
It's Thursday,
марта,
24th
время
of
21
March,
час 1 минута.
21 p.m. Ukraine
Ну что,
time.
сегодня календарный месяц,
It's a
как идет
calendar
война с
month
Украиной,
since the war
24
with Ukraine
февраля.
started,
Ну,
since
сегодня у нас Алексей Алексеевич.
24th of
Рад приветствовать,
February.
Алексей.
Welcome, Alexei.
40 тысяч человек
We
нас
already have
смотрят. У меня огромная
40,000
просьба ко
people
всем
watching
зрителям.
us.
Пожалуйста, подписывайтесь на
A
канал Feigin
big
Live,
request to
поскольку
all
там
of
много
our
Алексея
viewers,
Арестовича,
don't
очень
forget to
активной ссылки.
subscribe to our
Проходите
channel.
на его канал, он там уволился уже, я уж не
Join
знаю,
his
сколько
channel
там
as well.
предварительно он
It's
сможет
probably
иметь. Вот. Но,
already
во всяком случае,
over the
подписывайтесь на
brim
канал
with
Алексея
viewers,
Арестовича,
but
получайте
yes,
информацию
don't forget to
напрямую.
subscribe to
Ну
our
и,
channels.
пожалуйста, также
Also,
ссылки
don't forget
на
to share
прямой
links to
эфир
our
прямо
live
сейчас
cast.
размещать в своих аккаунтах в социальных сетях и
We
тому
see
подобное.
5,000
Нам
likes
уже
to this
5
one.
тысяч поставили лайки, не скупитесь,
And we'll start
поддержите
with the
канал, давайте.
traditional.
Была
So,
возможность
what are our
побольше
news
свидетельств показать нашим
during the last
зрителям.
24 hours?
Ну, а начнем с
News are good.
традиционного. Какие новости за эти сутки
I can say
произошли?
that our models of battle actions, when we confront a static enemy, they're bringing good results. According to preliminary data that needs more verification, Ford operating base of 49th Army was destroyed today. Probably one general out, maybe more than one. And also a big amphibious assault ship went kaboom in the port of Berdyansk. Yeah, we saw there was some smoke there. Yes, that kind of smoke you can see even from Australia. There was a big ship destroyed. I think its name is Saratov. Initially they announced Orsk, but it was Saratov. Yeah, we have to be careful with names. Aboard it had about 20 tanks, 45 armored assault vehicles, and about 450 troops. It was designated to go to Mariupol, but it won't, and it seems like we found a way to help them. Our partisans worked well, so they cannot use railroad to deliver troops to Mariupol, so they started using ships for deliveries, and we shot a couple missiles. Yeah, most of all those troops and equipment was on the ship, so this one went down. Two more were damaged as they tried to maneuver to get out of the port. And what's interesting, they were manned by those traitors, captains who in 2014 betrayed their oath to the country and switched over to Russian Federation. So this is also a model of what's going to be happening to many of those who committed treason, and these crimes have no term or amnesty. So that's the situation for today. Once again, I'll repeat that if Russian army turns to defensive warfare, it'll mean a catastrophe for them. Because, like today, it's much easier to hit stationary targets. So, another thing, today Konashenkov, representative of Ministry of Defense of Russia, claimed they have taken the town of Izum, and some people are confirming that, and Russian trolls are online tweeting that. So what can you tell about it? He was a little bit in a hurry to announce that they indeed started an attack this morning on one of the directions, and he announced it prematurely. We stopped them and kicked them back to the original positions. The only victory Russian army took today, they destroyed the very famous monument to the soldiers of Second World War in Izum, a very well-known monument that was on a hill. So Izum today is controlled by military of Ukraine? No, we share it. Russia has about half the city and we have another half. Oh, and we also shot one of the planes over there. Speaking of planes, we kind of carefully tracking that stat, right? So our intelligence acquired data from one of the detachments that has Su-34 planes, very expensive pieces of equipment. So they got 2 squadrons that are staffed up to 2/3 with lieutenants and senior lieutenants. So, of course, they cannot fly for shit. We mentioned that before. The first time, the beginning of the war, the first week, there were colonels and majors flying. Now it's really lieutenants. So it's pretty easy for us to shoot them down. During yesterday 24 hours, we shot 7 planes. They're young pilots. They just don't know all the things that they can do. But they're pretty easily get trapped by anti-air defense systems. And that also puts quite a bit of pressure on the detachment. So it appears that Russian aviation is losing one pilot and vehicle for every 30 flights, every 30 missions. This is a catastrophe. So they're trying to concentrate their fire on infrastructure and destroy more, but you can tell that we're catching up on them, and even in aviation they're losing equipment and people. And they're really scraping the bottom of the barrel. And, it takes some time, as we talked before. They'll lose about their fighting capability for about 10 years, and people were laughing. Here's a good example of that. You can keep laughing about it, but you'll need to make planes and restock pilots, and it'll take time. Indeed, we had a stream where we tried to plan out the possible military conflict, and details are not that important. It's hard to plan down to the very minutiae, but we did mention that they'll be following and trying to use the resources of railroad and other transport, and it seems like Russian military have not really listened to those statements, to our podcast back in the day. It does seem like there are no changes in the central part, in Kharkov and other towns, so there are no major movements of Russian troops. They tried to move today under Kiev, and we shot pretty well in that direction. We hit some of their ammo depot, and it was blowing up for a while. Pretty, and a lot of things were flying. We probably hit something big there, because it was exploding for a while. There were numerous explosions, and our intercepts also tell us that there are a lot of comments as we're leaving the vehicles, we cannot fight, we don't have resource, don't have ammo, don't have fuel. And in the region of Chernigov and Sumy, they try to push further. In the other parts, they're really static. They have no fuel, and they're really stuck. Civilians don't know that, but tank, even in a static condition, is using fuel, because you cannot shut it down completely. There's a ton of different equipment on it that uses energy. So even if they're not turning anything on, it uses auxiliary power that needs energy to feed all the electronics. So even if you're static, you're still eating fuel, and the more they stand, the less effective they become. We already saw some of their troops leaving Gostomel. They're leaving equipment. Some people even change their clothes into civilian and try to flee. So who owns Gostomel? It's a little bit ours, and still mostly taken by Russians, but it will not last long, because they cannot. We have firepower targeted at them, and they're trying. You can already see they're trying to leave the area. In near Kiev, we also destroyed a fort base of 49th Army. We're pretty well targeted on their positions. If we had the weapons our president requested today, as he spoke with NATO, we probably would be counter-operation on different directions. Because the troops that are facing us, they already can't really fight back. They can't even run away. They are out of fuel. It's a really opportune moment, but there is a problem that we don't have heavy military equipment. So, but Biden came, and something is happening, right? No, unfortunately, I cannot say that there are many positive developments there. The president used very sharp words today to reflect that. Well, our president is a very sharp man these days, right? Yeah, he used it on purpose. So,
Ну, ты видишь так,
as you see,
что о бесполетной зоне и о введении
the non-flight zone. Oh, yeah, no, you can forget about non-flight zone. I don't believe in that. Maybe in the very end they'll do something. They are basically giving us weapons for the partisan war. That's how I see it. They probably thought, like Russian command, that we'll lose the government control of the situation. They give us grenade launchers, portable systems, small arms, so kind of like Mujahideen in Afghanistan. That doesn't really help us as a big army much. All right, but in any case, even in this volume, this is comparable with what Russian army is receiving in terms of support from within, or their resources are also withering, technical resources are dwindling. We can tell that their resources are in decline. There are a lot of equipment coming that is older from the storage that has not shot well before and is not shooting any better now. They're getting some very dated pieces of equipment. So, back in the day in 19th century, the War of Russian Empire with Turkey was called the War of One-Handed with One-Legged. So we have limitations in what we have, and they also have very serious limitations in equipment that they can bring to the fight. There's one good part of that is that the soul is all to our advantage, because the moment the green leaves are on the trees, we get another level of advantage, and we can actually use the partisan tactics to get closer to their troops. And then all these small weapons and grenade launchers and guided missiles will be of really good use. All right. We have about 105,000 people watching us. Don't forget to share this video, so that even those who are pretty skeptical about what we talk here can take a listen, and life itself proves that we're not trying to alter the facts. We're trying to be as factual as we can. And life does support that it's been almost a month and Russian army has not really captured anything big in Ukraine. So a question about Mariupol. So did somebody write in the comments that we'll see what happens? Oh, no, we're not citing trolls. The main propaganda thesis in Russia is that it's almost there. It's almost there. We're almost there. Just a little more power and we'll take over. But what little bit? It's been a month and you have only taken Kherson and still struggling around Mariupol. Yeah, sorry about the connection. It's a little bouncy and we're getting comments, derogatory comments about our connection. Sorry about it. Any other news about Mariupol besides that assault ship? Similar situation. There's street fighting going on. We evacuated some people today. Couldn't take out many of the civilians out of the town because they were shooting at the access roads. All right. Is there any information that you could comment or judge about the negotiations? Can we admit that negotiations peace talks are stalled? We cannot say they're stalled. Something is happening. They already have finalized positions of both sides. So now I think, again, my opinion, that both sides expressed everything they wanted to express, and now they're in some sort of position positional stance, and it appears Russian side is waiting for any improvement they could use to their advantage. I don't think they will have that in the near future, and already addressed their chances for victory in general. We're 16 minutes live. Do we have a little bit of time? Sure, yeah. Probably another 4 or 5 minutes. Any changes in exchange of prisoners of war? We briefly discussed yesterday that some of them can happen on the lower levels. Any people were exchanged? Do we have any data who was exchanged? Today, there was a swap of an exchange of Navy personnel. We tried to get back, and we got some people from the Snake Island who were captured, those who are still alive, and we're also trying to keep the same in terms of rank, so we don't change low rank for colonel. So that parity means that you try to match the selection? Yeah, there was mostly Navy personnel, and we tried to match exactly what they had, and of course Russian side is asking for colonels or pilots, but we're asking back, please give us back our colonels or pilots if you have any, which I really doubt they do. So we exchanged some of the seamen today. Oh, so you're also saying that there are some Russian troops who refuse to be exchanged? Oh yeah, 2 weeks, starting 2 weeks ago. Me personally, I've seen about 6 people who wrote requests to not be exchanged. For the most part, lower ranks, yes, but they refuse to return back to Putin's Russia until the regime is changed. So another question is, what are they facing there? It's kind of a rhetorical question, but, they can say that they heard threats that they'll be imprisoned or they'll face some consequences. Oh, prisoner of war situation, you can bring different reasons, because, who will believe you? Because you're a prisoner of war, you have to say what you have to say. And if they return to Russia, well, they probably say, I'm forced to. But again, I would not recommend Russian troops to return back to Russia until Putin regime is gone, because you can expect anything from them. So where should they go? Oh, they can stay here. We feed them and dress them. Yeah, probably even better than some of our front detachments. What happens if the war is over? What will happen to them? Well, they can request the right to work, and they can stay and live in Ukraine, and Geneva Convention protects their rights. Of course, I understand that. What if somebody listens to our talk here and decides, oh, this is awesome, I'll stay here? Of course, that's my point. It's much better to be a prisoner of war than to be laying on the side of the road, eaten by vultures. That's pretty much an easy choice for Russian troops. You can do that or that. Well, I'm not specifically calling for that. Yeah, but it is a good... We're not calling for that, but there are 2 choices. You can either die or you can surrender. I would consider surrender is probably a better option. And by the way, Russian troops, when you surrender, you actually return back to Russia at the end of this. When the regime is gone, you come back as the hero, because you made a serious moral choice to surrender and not to fight for that criminal regime that pushed the war on the neighbor country. You could have been fighting, and that there's no glory in that in this case. Or you could be dead on the battlefield, and, we're already burying a lot of people. And Russian side, I got some data that, they're trying to burn their bodies too. In one of the factories, one of the steel mills, they were using the forges to burn. That's what I heard. They used the forges to burn the remnants. And in one of the places, they also killed some of their wounded before they left. There was a hospital in school, and local people mentioned that there were some shots there before they left. So about the portable crematoriums, I heard they suck. They made some news, but they're Russian made, and Russia is not real good in making that kind of equipment. Very few people know Russia has very little in terms of crematoriums. In the 90s, I was the assistant of mayor in Samara, and it's an expensive thing. Moscow had some, not very many cities had them. So if you think of it, it's kind of easier to burn them on the steel mills, yes. And I heard about these situations. Yeah, indeed, we had some of that. We need to confirm more, as any fact that we hear from the front lines, but this indeed was brought up. And there was a real situation when Russian retreating troops shot their wounded. Local people told that there was a school where they had command and hospital, and then locals got there, and they were fresh bodies, freshly dead. That was near Brovarov direction. I have not heard other instances, but one really brought my attention. In Belarus, there is also a lot of wounded and dead near Gomel. And they're not really destroying bodies, but by our data, they're burying them together like in big mass graves. But again, that's a piece of news that needs checking, needs verification. So what's the total number of the dead Russian troops? Do you have that? Yeah, we already have the data of over 15,000 dead soldiers. Of course, it's approximate data. And it's hard when we do close fighting, we can confirm most of it. But right now, when we have artillery duels and when that thing hits, it's hard to gauge how many were there. So we've been for about 23 minutes live, and we'll get together tomorrow. Yes, we're doing it daily. We're writing that War Diary daily. Thank you, Olexiy. Thank you, people watching us. Please subscribe to the channel, share it. Feigin Live. See you tomorrow.